So I only want to say two things: classic storytelling and Liam Neeson. Hello and welcome back with another video of TREKKERPRISE. So as I promised, I'm back with another Orville review. As you can see, I'm still not in my normal environment, so I try to keep this review short and sweet. So in this episode we start out with Bortus and Clyden, and basically they have an argument of some sort that comes to the basic fact as Clyden not really happy Bortus being on the bridge all the time and sort of neglecting his family status and having more time with Clyden himself. So it's a bit of an interesting fusion going on between this two-person. While this little argument goes on, obviously in the bridge they actually encounter a huge ship. That's where actually the story gets really interesting, because obviously they weren't able to make contact, so they actually get a shuttle and they go into this ship with the landing party. So the landing party basically Ed, Kelly, and Dr. Finn, and Isaac, and Alara. So, and this is the point when actually the story separates in two parts. Well, actually three parts, because we have remaining crew members in the Orville. We have Alara and Kelly, and we have Ed, Claire, and Isaac, and in a separate space. So long story short, Alara gets shot at by locals, Kelly being kidnapped by locals. Ed, Claire, and Isaac encounters a civilian family. Turns out they have no idea if they are on the ship or not. Obviously this young kid, Tomalak, introduces Isaac, Claire, and Ed to a group called the Reformers. Basically they are people who actually believe there's something out there, there's something beyond what they actually can see in this environment. They go into the city where they actually try to find Kelly after they found Alara being shot at. And they found out there's a guy called Hemlock that actually controls the society, and he believes that all the teachings and everything the creation of this society comes from Dural. But obviously they save Kelly. The locals, the Reformers, show a secret place to Ed and the others, and they actually found out there's the bridge of the bioship. They show that to the locals. Obviously they found a message from Dural as well, who happened to be the last captain, the last commanding officer from this bioship, and he actually tells the story of their journey, what that journey is supposed to be. But as it turned out, the engines were failing, and they tried to send out a distress call, but no one really came to help them. So by time they actually passed generations and generations, and everyone forgot about their origins, and that's how everyone ended up not knowing about their presence in this ship. And actually this is the time when we actually face Dural, and Dural happened to be Liam Neeson, so it was quite interesting for me seeing Liam Neeson in a sci-fi environment. Obviously we got to know him from Star Wars as Qui-Gon Jinn, but seeing him in this series, and he's finally not a depressing person who chases bad guys and stuff, so it was really a nice change for seeing him in the Orville. So the story itself has two messages that I really found interesting. First of all, it teaches us how leaders can be manipulative and how we can actually manipulate societies. Hemlock basically was the leader who actually manipulated the society, and he convinced everyone, okay, this is the belief, this is the system that you have to believe, which is quite common in leaders. They try to embrace their ideology and their ideas to certain societies. So it was quite interesting to see actually this part of the story and this message of the story. Obviously the other thing is this ship was 2000 years old and not getting help from anyone, and they sort of get on with their lives. It's really reminded me of the Inner Light from Next Generation, because what happens is Captain Picard ends up in this ideology, in this reality. When he actually plays a character from the city, at the beginning he really tried to get out from the situation and try to find how they can actually contact with the Enterprise, but then over the years he sort of forgets about himself, and he starts to live his life, and growing a family and get children and growing old as well. So it's a sweet combination between these two themes. So getting the inner light aspect of TNG, plus getting this manipulative leader as the main driving force of the story. So it was a really nice balance, and not to mention, it's basically the episode aired in the 30th anniversary of the Next Generation. So having this little aspect of of the show in the 30th anniversary of Next Generation was actually an even more an homage to Star Trek. Honestly, the Orville really stole my heart this year, so I'm just really so hyped about this series, and I'm pretty sure you already know, because I'm like, since day one, since they actually started to show Orville, I was really excited, and I really enjoy all of the episodes. So obviously we have to talk about the funny elements of the show, because we're talking about the science fiction plus comedy show combination. I found really interesting when Kelly being interrogated with Hemlock. She actually mentioned the Central Perk cafe, and there's her friends, and I was like, okay, that's actually friends from from the classic so it's actually the classic TV show. So it was quite interesting to hear that from, and actually find out, okay, this is the reference for Friends. And the lift awkwardness was funny as hell. They're in a situation that they try to figure out what's going on, and Ed really made the most awkward conversation, like, what are you doing in a weekend? It's like, am I gonna call my sister? Basically something, and this is going towards the end of my review, is the sound. I remember the first scene that they actually go with the shuttle, they actually encounter this ship, and they go into the bioship. The soundtrack really reminded me of the motion picture when actually the Enterprise goes into the Ouija cloud, and she's exploring the Ouija cloud. She actually flies through the cloud. The same sort of music elements actually came into, because they really went into the unknown and they discovering stuff. So the music is brilliant. Honestly, the Orville music soundtrack is something out of this world. It really comes as a classic sci-fi music, plus it has a really familiar sounding as well towards the Star Trek franchise. So overall, the episode, I think it was brilliant. I kind of hope they're gonna pass on this whole Kelly and Ed divorced, and you know, they still bragging along this relationship thing. But overall, the episode was really cool. I had so much fun watching it, and it's just Orville is just a really delightful accident that happened with TV. So in the end of this episode discussion, please let me know your comments and thoughts about this last episode of the Orville, and obviously don't forget to like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe to receive all the geekiness twice or free or even more times a week. I'm really looking forward to get back home and finally start get back to my normal videos and my normal environment. So I'll keep you posted, and until next time, live long and prosper.